Hey guys, this is Nicole.
And this is George. How you guys doing?
We figured we'd come out to the harbor here and get a video with one of the cruise ships leaving back here. We've got several others in port today. We'll just kind of pan around.
Oh, speaking of which, the Silver Muse is leaving right behind us.
Yeah.
Turn this away so they can, no, the other way.
This way?
Yeah.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, we've got
look, there it goes.
another one leaving right here.
Yep, Silver Muse is out of here for the day.
A busy day here in Skagway. We had 4 ships in town. And so we wanted to jump on here and just answer some of the questions that you guys submitted for us. So, George, you want to ask the first question?
Yeah, first up was Janine, and she had questions about Northern Lights. Have we seen the Northern Lights? And when's the best time to see the Northern Lights?
And AJ wanted to know when the best time to see the Northern Lights
Oh.
was. So, Janine, when we first came to Alaska to work here our first summer, I told George that there was 2 things that I was going to see before I left to go back to Florida because we were coming up here seasonally. The first was a moose, and the second was the Northern Lights. And we certainly lucked out because within like the first month we were here, we saw the Northern Lights. That leads us to the best time to see the Northern Lights, and I'm going to let George answer that question.
So pretty much any time it's dark is the best time to see the Northern Lights. Apparently they're happening up there all the time. We just can't see it because it's light outside. But with that being said, it really starts to get light a lot come around kind of end of May into June. So you probably won't see them during the bulk of the cruise season.
Yeah.
Although on the shoulder end, it is a possibility. So maybe in May and maybe a little bit in that late September, early October.
Actually, one of the best ones that we saw, George, was like mid-September. So those of you that are coming up in September, you may have a chance. There is an app, the Aurora app.
The Aurora app will tell you what the likelihood is, and it'll give you a little alert if they're out.
Yes, so if you guys are coming in either May or September, I recommend downloading that app because it'll alert you to whether or not the Northern Lights are going to be visible that night. So best times to see them are going to be in the winter months, unfortunately, and then sometimes in the shoulder season.
But sometimes in the winter months, you don't even see them too often because it's so overcast all the time. So that's another thing. It has to be clear, and it has to be the right solar conditions. So.
Exactly. I think the best times that we've ever seen them have been in April and September. So
yeah, right on the ends of the season.
That's my recommendation for you guys. AJ also wanted to know what the best time to cruise to Alaska was, and maybe we're a little partial because when George and I cruised to Alaska, it was in May, but we kind of feel that May is our favorite month here, pretty much because there's lots of snow still on the peaks of the mountains. I mean, there's still some back there now, but it's melted because we've had some hot days, but we have blue skies and more sun in May than I feel like we have.
Yeah.
On average during the month.
I know y'all want to pack your Ugg boots and your 1,000 layers of parkas, but if you come through here in July, August, it's probably not necessary. I mean, it's June now, and I've got on a light windbreaker and just like a little, knitted long sleeve shirt, and I'm comfortable out here. So.
Yeah. So we're going to do a whole nother video about what to pack when you come to Alaska. So stay tuned for that. We do want to answer a couple more questions. So Karen asked us what we do in the winter. She wanted to know if we go back to Florida. And the answer is yes and no. we actually used to go back every year. For our first 3 years, we went back and forth and we spent the entire winters in Florida. In 2019, we became full-time residents in Alaska and sold our house in Orlando and in Florida in 2020. So we do go back to Florida, but for as short of time as possible because we have family there. But it's too darn hot, especially even in January.
Even in January, it's still too hot for us. So.
We were there and it was 84 degrees in January. And even though I'm from Florida, born and raised, anything over 74 degrees to me is like torture now. So,
and this is home now, and it's nice to stay home.
Yeah. So we did travel last year because after the pandemic, we had been kind of stuck here for 2 years. And so we took a 3-month trip last year. And we actually did a whole podcast during that trip through our Off Your Beaten Path page. So you can check that out if you guys want to hear about our journeys on our trip. But this winter we're gonna probably stay here through Christmas, and then we're gonna go to Spain for the month of January because weather there is amazing, and so it's cheaper for us to be out of Alaska because it's expensive here. So we're going to travel a little bit and probably come back in like March.
Yeah, probably. And as for what we do in the winter, when we do stay here for the winter, there's lots of cool like Christmas activities that happen. A lot of stuff is centered around the school because there's a lot of basketball games and tournaments that are going on then. Kids are always traveling for stuff. But we personally do a lot of reading. There's not really a whole lot going on in Skagway. You can pick between one restaurant, so there's either the cook at home or eat at the one restaurant that happens to be open in the winter. We binge watch a lot of Netflix and stuff because there's really not a lot going on. It's a sleepy little town in the winter, and you just kind of hunker down and hang out with the dogs and relax a little bit and try to catch up from the ridiculous amount of work that we do in the summertime.
Yeah, I feel like, we have a child that's grown. If we had kids that were in school, we turned from a tourist town to a town that's totally focused on the school. So we have a little bit of different priorities because we don't have a child in school. But it's definitely a pretty cool place to be in the wintertime. We don't get as much snow as people think that we do. So it's really not unbearable. All right, so that's it for our questions for now. We know there are a lot more questions you guys submitted, but we will be back. Just stay tuned for those videos. And if you have any other questions, feel free to submit those too.
Yeah, just let us know. Right now, though, it's time to go home and cook dinner.
Yes, it's been a long day, and we'll just go ahead. I'm going to pan around again so you guys can see. Oops, I can't do that. I'm going to go this way. So you guys can see the cruise ships in town still. So we've got 2 that I've just left out to sea and 2 that are still in port. So we hope to see you guys soon. Make sure you stop by and see us when you're in Skagway.